Live on the Mounjaro, it's Friday Night Live with your host, David Knapp. Thank you, Clap Track. Good evening. Happy Friday Night Live. I love that clap track. I told my wife I wish that it played like every time I walked in the door at home. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope that you're all well. I'm excited about this Friday Night Live. I hope that you are too. We've got an exciting night in store for you. We've got a great show. We're introducing a couple of new little segments that we're going to do on Friday Night Live. So thank you for joining, and especially thank you if you're joining on Facebook tonight, because that's new. We haven't live streamed a Friday Night Live to Facebook yet. So if you're on Facebook and watching us, let us know that you're here on Facebook. To those of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you. Abby, Melissa, BJ, thank you for joining as always. Fat Guy No More. Ken, how are you? Good evening. Thanks for joining. So tonight we've got a few things that are new, and I'm going to just let you know a little bit about them. We're going to do a new segment called Fake News Friday. So if all of you are on forums, if you get served ads, we've all seen some just junk information out there. So we're going to correct the record on a couple of fake news things from this week. And hey, if you want to contribute to Fake News Friday, you can email by just taking a screenshot of the fake news or bad information you see out there about Mounjaro. Do a quick screen grab of it and email it to mounjaroman@gmail.com, and that'll be in the description. So we'll do Fake News Friday tonight. We're also going to do the Mounjaro hot topic. So we're going to have a hot topic of the week that we're going to talk about. We have a special guest tonight, chronic bariatric girly from Instagram. Michelle Hess is here to discuss the Treat and Reduce Obesity Act of 2021. So we're excited to have her on the stream. We'll be bringing her in. And then after that, we're going to move exclusively over to the YouTube channel. The link is in your description, Facebook, where the stream will end here. You'll click over to YouTube and watch the end there, where we're going to do a live Q&A. We've got a lot of questions on deck to answer tonight that you've all been submitting over the week. We'll take your live questions as you have them and answer them. And then we're also going to do 2 drawings tonight. Okay, so the first drawing is going to be from the last Friday Night Live that we did before the end of the year, where we took a vote on which of my YouTube thumbnails that everybody liked the best. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that. And everybody who participated is in my little bingo dealie here. We're going to spin that around and pull a name out. But also a second drawing for another $25 Amazon gift card is going to go to anybody who shares this stream either on Facebook or on YouTube. Just put in the comments, share. Just let us know that you have shared, and we will enter you into that drawing. So what we're going to do here, without further ado, we are going to get right into our Fake News Friday. So buckle up. Let's get it started. Fake News Friday. All right, we got some good stuff here. So lots of fake news rolling around on the web here. The first thing that I want to show you was something that's popped up on my Facebook feed. It's this guy right here. An ad I keep getting. If you're low on Mounjaro, why don't you try metformin? I got to just laugh at that, guys. I mean, I'm sorry if you're a metformin person, but metformin isn't even in the same league with Mounjaro. To me, that's some fake news, right? So I compare it to, let's say the Angels benched Mike Trout, and instead they brought in the ace hitter from your church softball team. That's about the equivalent of Mounjaro versus metformin for weight loss. So that's some fake news to me. The second thing is, it was shared in the Discord that there was a YouTube channel somewhere that had shared that all GLP-1s are semaglutide. So we're just going to correct that record tonight, because if you've watched our live stream number 3 to be exact, if you go back through my playlist, you'll know that there are multiple other GLP-1s besides semaglutide, like dulaglutide, Trulicity, or liraglutide, which is Saxenda and Victoza, and others. But if you watch live stream number 5, you'd be particularly stoked about Eli Lilly's drug that they have in the works, which is called orforglipron, which is also a GLP-1 drug. So there's lots of other GLP-1s out there to check out. If you are looking to move away from Mounjaro, forced to move away from Mounjaro, there's other options out there. So if you have anything that comes up in the next week, some fake news, misinformation that you'd like the record corrected on, please submit those to manonmounjaro@gmail.com. How's everybody doing tonight? Put it in the chat. I want to hear how everybody's doing. It's good to have everybody back here. It's good to be kind of getting back in the groove of doing this live stream. And we're just super thrilled to just get in a groove in 2023 of doing these live streams and getting everybody together. It's just, I really enjoy it, and I hope that you're enjoying it as well. So the second thing I want to get into tonight is the hot topic. We've got a hot topic of the week that we're going to discuss. And as I mentioned earlier, we're talking about I don't want to get this wrong, it's the Treat and Reduce Obesity Act of 2021. In the description of this video, you're going to see all the links that we talk about tonight, and you're going to see a link specifically to this bill. I believe it's HR 1577. I can't tell in my notes. I'm losing myself here, but I think that's it. But we're going to bring Michelle Hess in here in a second, Chronic Bariatric Girly on Instagram. Make sure you give her a follow. And she's going to give us all the information. Michelle has been a wealth of information for me. I met her over in BJ Davis's Discord, and that is linked in the description of this video. Please join us over there. It's a great time. And actually, BJ himself put out some information. I'm going to let Michelle share about that. So we're going to jump right into this week's hot topic, and we are going to invite Miss Michelle in. Michelle, welcome to the stream.
Hi, thanks. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me again.
Absolutely. I should say welcome back to the stream.
All right.
You're becoming like a seasoned veteran on Friday Night Live. I love it.
It's fun.
Always appreciate having you here. Michelle, I'm going to let you take it away on this Treat and Reduce Obesity Act of 2021 and just kind of let you have at it and tell the viewers a little bit more about that, would you?
Sure. Well, the act itself is pretty simple. So what I want to start with is why I want to talk about this and what it could lead into. I want to talk about it because I think NBC and some other news stations have, or from their news on NBC or their specific news stations, have run some stories about insurance not covering weight loss medications. And that is true for a lot of insurance companies, but there are some things we can do about it. And the Treat and Reduce Obesity Act of 2021 is actually going to lend towards that in the future, I believe. And I'm going to go over some of those details. But basically, I'm going to call it the Obesity Act from here on out, so I don't have to just keep saying that over and over. But it was actually proposed in 2021, and most bills die in the House or Senate if they haven't come up for a vote, but this one looks to be still active. So somebody did something to keep it on the table, and it's actually referred by the Ways and Means Committee over to the Health Committee. So they're examining it right now. But basically what it does is it expands obesity coverage with Medicare. And so with Medicare currently, you can get bariatric surgery, and you can also get behavioral obesity treatment, but only with specific types of providers. And so the act would make it to where you could get behavioral therapy through an expanded range of providers, and it would also cover weight loss medications. Another thing that it might propose to do is to reduce the requirements for bariatric surgery, but actually Medicare has the most liberal ones right now, and they're pretty easy. So that's a good thing to know. And currently Medicaid also covers bariatric surgery and weight loss medications. So these are both really good things. If this act gets passed for Medicare, what exists with Medicaid. And then there's also 23 states that have and or bariatric surgery and or other types of treatments such as medications. So it's looking really good that this might pass. And if it does, hopefully that will also trickle down to the Affordable Care Act. And so people who have insurance through that would hopefully also eventually, maybe within a couple of years, get coverage for obesity medications and other treatments. Bariatric surgery may be covered by some plans right now. There are so many plans in the different states, it's really hard to say. And I also should note that with Medicaid, it depends on your state whether they cover obesity medication, but a lot of them do. And, you know, it's about time for all of this because the AMA actually decided that they would recognize obesity as a disease in 2013. So it's taken a while to move forward with these things. And so I want to also mention some things that you can do for everyone or for you regarding getting coverage for obesity medication. Number one, if you can afford it, for about $25 a year, you can join the Obesity Action Committee. And they are a big proponent of this particular bill, but they also provide counseling to obese people to help them get coverage through insurance and things like that. Now, you don't have to be a member to get all of the benefits, but since it's only $25 a year, I do recommend being a member because you get all the updates on legislation, you get information about the conference that they have on obesity, and they have people who are specializing in getting coverage for people who are getting it denied for things like bariatric surgery, other obesity treatments, and bariatric and obesity medications. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing is that if you have private insurance, and I think most of you know that employee care, which may be somewhere around the same number, private insurance through an employer is usually the most prevalent. And in these stories, the doctors about, in the stories about the insurance not covering weight loss medications, the doctors were talking about how it's all the insurance companies. Well, it is because they put these exclusions in, but the employer actually decides whether to accept that coverage or not. So there's a couple of things you can do with your employer. And I did this to get bariatric surgery myself, and it worked for me. Go to your company and ask them if they'll add the coverage in, even if it's only for a year or two. That can happen. My company added it in, and then they kept it, and several people have had bariatric surgery. I wish I had asked them to add in weight loss medication, but at the time I wasn't really interested in that, and I didn't know that we didn't have that coverage. Now on COVID, one thing you can do is first know that your boss or employer, can you hear me? It sounds like I cut out for a second.
You may have. I jumped back in and it interrupted you, I think, a little bit, but.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to keep an eye on the time too. Sorry. Anyway, so basically, if you're in a small company and you're afraid to ask, keep in mind that HIPAA protects you from people besides certain HR people understanding and knowing about your medical conditions. So when you go to HR and ask for this, they can't say you want it because you're obese and go tell your boss or something. So don't worry about that. Also, if there's more than one obese person who asks, whether it's a large company or small company, that can make a big difference. So if you know that other employees, your colleagues, are interested in weight loss medication, you might get together and ask at the same time. And you can also ask every year. If they come back with something like there are other ways to lose weight, one company did that to somebody recently, you can come back with the fact that the AMA has declared obesity a disease and how little it actually usually costs to add that coverage. It's usually not very expensive at all. And I know this from my HR side because I was a manager and had to do a lot of these things for my people. So those are some of the things you can do for yourself. You can also write to your congressman. Obviously, not everybody wants to get into all that, but it can make a difference as well, especially specifically about the Obesity Act. And then the other thing I was going to do is refer everybody to BJ Davis's petition regarding the Obesity Act. He has come up with a wonderful petition that we can all sign and we can share with other people. in support of the act. Is, the more support we get for the act, more likely it's going to be passed. And if Medicare starts covering these things, private insurance will follow. I don't know when, but that's the way it works. Private insurance follows Medicare. It's just, it's the way it's always worked. Obviously private insurance does cover some things Medicare doesn't cover, but it's a good indication that they'll follow along.
So one question that I have, or maybe it's more of a piggyback than a question. I think that the topic that you just touched on right before this about talking to your employer about adding coverage for bariatric procedures and medications. I think that's especially important for people right now because we're all sitting on pins and needles going, when is Mounjaro going to be approved by the FDA for weight loss? And people are just hanging on because it's going to come in June, hopefully, but maybe for sure, probably by the end of the year, right? But if we don't start having these conversations now with our HR representatives within our companies, we may find that Mounjaro is approved, but your insurance doesn't cover it next year. And you're in the same boat that you were in this year, looking down the barrel of $1,300. Actually, the Mounjaro that comes out for weight loss will be rebranded, no doubt, as something else. It'll be Tirzepatide still, but it'll be in higher dosages under a different brand name. And my guess is more expensive.
Yes, so, I think it will be. Yes.
So,
and oh, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to reiterate, now is the time to be having those conversations with your HR people to see, first of all, check if there's any bariatric coverage. A lot of health plans with certain employers don't include that. Right. So you may not know that because it may not have ever come up, but check. And if not, now's the time to start having those conversations. Also, the petition that BJ Davis put, the change.org petition that he has, is linked in the description below. So if you look in the description of this video, you're going to be able to find a quick link to that and be able to link right over to that and sign that petition.
Well, and actually, I have one more thing to add about that. In addition to the fact that you should be contacting your HR people now, which is a great idea. This is the time to do it because, like, I have coverage right now for Mounjaro, but I'm not a type 2 diabetic, and I have a weight loss medication exclusion. We don't know why they're covering me. Okay, I just got lucky for some reason, and that may not continue. But if you're, and I know there are some other people like me that are experiencing the same thing. Well, if it comes out as a weight loss drug, we may have a change at that time. So that's something to be concerned about. The other thing is look at all the plans in your company, because in some companies, all the plans have same coverage, but not all. In my company, they only added that specific bariatric surgery coverage to the top tier PPO. So while it is more expensive, it's less expensive than Mounjaro, and it's still less expensive than bariatric surgery. So you don't have to take that coverage permanently. When there is a change, when you do come to your open enrollment period, look at all the plans, and maybe you decide to do a more expensive plan for a year or 2 years. You don't have to necessarily do it for life, because you may do some compounded version for maintenance, or you may not need it for maintenance. You don't know. But look carefully at your plans. And if you don't understand the plans, talk to your HR benefit representative for sure.
Can I ask you a question that we didn't talk about before about compound medications?
Oh, sure.
So I do want to touch on that because I feel like there's been some FUD out there on different channels, on different social media people who are saying that it's too dangerous. Don't do compound medications. Can you just speak to that for a second?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, there was a case a few years ago where some people did die from a fungal infection from compound pharmacy in upstate New York, I believe it was. And it's called the Chen case. That is a very rare instance. More people have died from the drug companies putting out things like Vioxx than died from that, first of all. The other thing is you want to choose a compound pharmacy that is backed by your provider. You don't want to go on the internet and find your own, or that's backed by where you have a referral, but your provider has to send them the prescription. So it's best to choose one that's backed by your provider. Like my provider's Push Health, and each individual doctor there has the ones they prefer. But those are totally safe. I actually have to use compounded drugs for my chronic illnesses. I have 3 different ones that I use, and I've been using compound pharmacies for years. They're completely safe and effective, and you're your provider would not recommend them if they weren't, because they could also have liability for that, for referring you to them. So just don't go out there and pick anyone on the internet, and stay away from med spas too.
Okay. That's excellent. I appreciate you adding that, because I know there's just a lot of information, and there are certainly sources that are more reputable than others. So the caveat with anything is always do your research and talk to your doctor.
Right.
Like you said, there are a lot of great options out there for compounded medicines. This is not a new thing with Mounjaro. This is a very common thing. There are lots of regulations on compound pharmacies. There are different tiers even of compound pharmacies. Some can make injectable medications and some cannot.
Right.
And they're very heavily regulated by the government. So just to add, that is an option for those of you, because I know that comes up almost every video that I do, regardless the topic.
Right. And the other thing I would say is, with compound pharmacies, there's some medications where they'll have a shorter expiration date because they're fresh. A few of the compound pharmacies have said that about their particular Tirzepatide. And then others have said, no, ours is safe for longer. So pay attention to that, because you don't want to, buy more than a month's worth if it's only good for 30 days. There's that to pay attention to. But also, most of the compounding pharmacies are also regular pharmacies. And when I couldn't find 10 milligram, I called a compounding pharmacy because it was on my pharmacy list down the street. It was one of the first pharmacies that came up on my list that wasn't a major retailer. And they got the 10 milligram for me the next day. Wow. And they're going to have the 12.5 for me on Monday.
That's excellent.
Yeah. So they are regular pharmacies. Right. They just also do compounding most of the time.
Yeah. Excellent. That's excellent information. MM has a couple of questions that I know that you'll be able to speak to. The first question is, do they need to talk to their employer before the first of the year when insurance is renewed, or can they just add that stuff at any time? I know the answer, but I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, they have to add it during open enrollment, but you want to talk to them well ahead of that.
Now,
yeah, right. I mean, you will have to wait until open enrollment for that to be effective, or after open enrollment is when it will be effective. But generally, they do have to wait until open enrollment to make any big changes like that. My company didn't. You could also just send a general inquiry to your HR department in case they have a special, different kind of relationship that isn't the norm, and say, can you add coverage at any time, or do you have to wait until the open enrollment period? But I will tell you, I don't know of any companies that don't have.
That's excellent information, Michelle, and I appreciate you coming on to share that. I'm going to, if anybody has any other questions for the end of the stream, please put them in the chat, and put a Q in front of your question so that I know at a glance that you're asking a question when I go back through.
Ask me any questions, please reach out. But if you're concerned about where I'm getting my information or why I know these things, I'm happy to talk to anybody about that, because my information is good, I promise.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have somebody on if I didn't trust their information. Yeah. So we're having a little bit of technical lag here with our connection tonight, but I appreciate you coming on the stream tonight, Michelle. I hope that you have a great rest of your night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have you on again. Thank you very much. Chronic Bariatric Girly on Instagram. Check her out. Also find Michelle always interacting with us on BJ Davis's Discord, both linked in the description of this video. Michelle, have a great night. Thanks for joining.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Michelle is so awesome. I'm so thankful that she's been so willing to give up her time to me personally, to this stream, and to the Discord. We really appreciate Michelle within our little community. With that said, Facebook, we're going to say goodbye to you. In the description of your video tonight is your ability to join us on YouTube now, because the rest of the stream is going to go to YouTube. Now, at the beginning of this video, I suggested that you share this video on Facebook and on YouTube, and then put in the comments that you shared it, because at the end of this video, all the people who shared this video are going to go into a drawing, and in that drawing there will be a $25 Amazon gift card winner. So we're going to say goodbye to you, Facebook. Thank you for joining us tonight. We will see you again next Friday night, and have a great evening. YouTube, how we doing? Hope that you're all doing well. Thank you for joining as we said goodbye to our Facebook group. Now we're just kind of over here huddled in our YouTube world. I want to say a special hello to Mrs. Bell. Mrs. Bell, you're always joining our videos here, and I so appreciate you always commenting on the videos. Jess in process. Jess, I can't wait to have you on the stream. Congratulations on your rebrand and your continued success with your channel. Melissa H, welcome. And anybody else that I may have missed, thank you for joining us on the stream. Hey, what did we think of the information that Michelle shared with us tonight? I think that is super helpful information, both on ways that we can advocate for obesity medicine, because it is a hot topic. That specific subject matter is a little bit deep, but I gotta say, like, we have to start advocating for ourselves. We don't want to find ourselves in these moments where we're all, I can't get Mounjaro because it's, I don't have coverage on my health insurance. So these are things that we can be doing proactively right now, so that when that treatment is approved by the FDA for weight loss, you got it, and you're not in the same boat that you are now. So we're just trying to help you think 2 steps ahead of kind of where you're at today. There's so many people that comment on my videos, hey, I can't get this because I'm not type 2 diabetic, and they're taking away my coupon card, and it's a mess right now. It really is. But these are the steps that we can be making, and now for success in the future. YouTube, Bobby and Whitney, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. If you're just joining us on the video, please hit that like, hit that bell, hit that sub. It helps the stream grow. We had a little goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this stream. Can we do it? I don't know. If you have been here a while and you've seen these videos and you haven't, please hit subscribe and help us to reach that goal. So we've got some drawings that we've got to do, right? I owe some people or somebody a $25 gift card. So last time we took a little poll on our Friday Night Live, and the guy on the rocket that you see in the corner of your screen there, the guy is me riding the Mounjaro rocket. Who is it? Called me the Rocketeer, the Mounjaro Rocketeer. Was that Melissa? I think it was Melissa. So thank you for subscribing, Vicky. So that won, but a lot of you voted, and I told you that I would do this little drawing. So this is my kids' bingo thing here, and I've got a bunch of names here, and I'm going to pull one out here. Let's see. Natalie LWU. I don't know if you can see that, but you got a $25 gift card coming to you from me. I just need you to email mounjaroman@gmail.com. And I can find a way to get that to you over email. Melissa, I think it was Jess. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So congratulations to Natalie, who will be getting a $25 Amazon gift card. But there's one more giveaway here. All you have to do is share this stream either on YouTube or go back to Facebook, share it, and then come back to the comments and let us know that you shared it. We will make sure that we get a drawing entered in here by the end of the show. So with that said, we are going to do a little Q&A session here. We've had lots of people submit questions over the last couple weeks, and I picked out about 4 or 5 of my favorite questions that I'm just going to chat with you a little bit about tonight. Let me pull this up here. It's quite a multitasking event here to put these on and put graphics up and stuff like that, especially for an ADD guy like me. But the first question that we're going to take tonight was from Tamkin Spice, and she wanted to know what my thoughts were on smaller people taking Mounjaro for weight loss, and I certainly have thoughts on that. As I've shared many times on my stream, I am a staunch, firm, stalwart believer that doctors and patients should be making decisions together. And it's just not my business to weigh in outside of that. It's just not. So I'm an advocate. If Tamkin, if you and your doctor have decided that Mounjaro is the right treatment for you, far be it from me to usurp that authority of your doctor or advice. Again, it's just it's a personal decision, a very personal decision between a doctor and a patient to go on any treatment at all. Sue Petrus, who joins the stream constantly, and Sue is always commenting and encouraging me on the videos. I appreciate that. She wants to know why some lose more than others do on Mounjaro, which I think is a really great question. Um, First of all, we all have different chemistry, different body chemistry, and some are just slow losers. Some of us just lose weight slower, and it's frustrating. I am one of those people who I've shared my story here, and I won't go into it and bore you with telling you over and over again. But I went for a full year on strict keto and really didn't lose much weight. I reduced my A1C, I lowered my blood sugars, but I just could not cut the weight. And my doctor, who is an obesity medicine doctor, sees thousands of patients, was even scratching his head. He said, "You're one of 5 or 10 people that come on this program, and this is just the outcome for some of my patients." And so that was what led us to Mounjaro. Now I'm still losing slow on Mounjaro, but it is for sure unlocked my body's ability to lose some weight, which has been a huge gift to me. So don't be discouraged if you're losing slow. It's very easy with not just Mounjaro, but just virtually any topic to compare ourselves to other people's experience, because we live in a social media world where everybody's sharing their highlight reel, and nobody's really commiserating too much. It's just, hey, I've lost 30 pounds in a month, and you're going, I've been on Mounjaro for 6 months and I've lost 15 pounds. Hey, you still lost 15 pounds. Forget about the person who lost 30 in a month, right? You lost 15 pounds and Mounjaro helped you to do that. So my encouragement to you, Sue, would just be focus on that. Focus on your journey. As long as you commit to the right behaviors over time, that number is going to come down. Just be patient and maybe turn off the forums for a little bit if they're kind of getting you down. And I agree, Melissa, the fact that it works at all is just a huge blessing. And I 100% agree with you. Jamie, thanks for joining. Type 2 and Mounjaro has lowered your A1C. Mine too. It's been a miracle in that regard. Let's see here. Got another question here. This question comes from Joseph Christov. And he had a question about Mounjaro dosing and sugars going too low. So I think what he wanted to know is, like, as he was on the lower doses, his blood sugars were going down. He's concerned as he bumps up, are they going to go lower and lower and lower and get too low? Assuming that Joseph, you're a type 2 diabetic, which I am as well, it really leveled out among the doses. I think, from 2.5 and I'm on 15 now, and I have never had scary low glucose events with any of the doses. They all kind of have done the same for me. The 2.5 all the way up to the 15, the A1C has been similar. I haven't had, since the 2.5, it's been pretty well whipped. So I appreciate you adding that question tonight, Joseph. Again, if you have any questions yourself, put a Q in front of your comment and then post it into the chat. We can get that question answered tonight as well. Last question comes from, let's see, I can change my banner here. I'm going to throw out here. Last one, which is from Antoinette. She said, I would like to know if the weight loss is greater if you're a type 2 diabetic versus a non-diabetic. I know there's going to be some amens in the stream tonight when I say my anecdotal research has told me that people who are diabetic are generally slower weight loss losers on Mounjaro. Again, that's completely anecdotal, but it seems to track along that people who are insulin resistant and full on type 2 diabetes, the A1C comes down quick, the weight comes down a little bit slower. I think as you level up in the doses, so to speak, what you're going to find is that the suppression gets better and better with every dose. And you probably want to talk to your doctor about ultimately getting up to the highest benefit in the 15 milligram dose, where I can attest to the fact that the appetite suppression is the strongest. Sue, YouTube, thanks for coming, buddy. Sue informed me earlier this week that I can call him Susie. So Susie, thanks for joining the stream. He says Mounjaro is making him feel. Mounjaro makes me feel I'm making progress, not losing ground. Yeah, excellent point. I don't know, Sue, what dose you're on, but I had that same thought on the early doses. I thought, well, I put the brakes on, and even though I'm not losing fast, I'm not gaining. So there's always a bright side. Ken weighed in and said, if it took him 33 and a half weeks to lose 35 pounds, then I then started Mounjaro and I'm down 93 in 18 weeks. Yeah. So Fat Guy No More, Ken Lee, we did an interview with him the other day. Go back through my my videos and you'll find that Ken is an awesome guy with an awesome channel. Please go and check him out. He's phenomenal. It was a pleasure to get to meet you, Ken, and get to know you a little bit. Mrs. Bell has a question. She said, since meds lowering the A1C and glucose, wouldn't you not be considered as type 2? Sorry if I'm not making sense. So meds lowering the A1C and glucose, wouldn't you not be considered as type 2? So yeah, I think what your question is, if I'm making sense of it, is if Mounjaro brings your A1C down to non-diabetic levels, are you technically non-diabetic? I would say, no, you're still diabetic. It's just controlled with medication. And Michelle agrees about type 2s losing slower. Yeah, I think if you're in the forums and you're talking to people a lot, you know that that you just hear it more often from diabetics that the weight loss is just slower. And it can be frustrating. To Sue Petrus's, or Petrus, sorry if I'm butchering your name, to her point, it does seem to be slower and it can be frustrating, but that's where you again have to recalibrate and remember that it's slow and steady wins the race. Commit to the right behaviors. Let's see if we got any. Julie has a question. Do you eat whatever, count calories, or limit certain foods while on Mounjaro? Great question, Julie. So I have not been. I did strict keto as a diabetic for 1 year and I lost nothing. And it was so restrictive that I felt myself slipping back into the same pattern as before I became diabetic, where it was so restrictive that I'd kind of go the other way with it. Right now, what I'm trying to practice is intuitive eating. I eat when my body tells me to eat, and I eat what my body tells me to eat. And I make sure that if what I'm eating is not nutrient dense, that I'm supplementing those appropriately. I make sure that I take magnesium, sodium, and potassium every day in the form of the, well, it's linked in the description below. And I also take, not every day, but just about every day, athletic greens as well. Both of those tend to give me the feeling, you know, and I'll give a plug for the potassium, sodium, and magnesium, the keto nutrition, whatever it's called down below. Whenever I've felt nauseous on Mounjaro, I go to that drink, and it pretty much every time turns me right around. Maybe it's in my head, might be placebo, but it's worked like a dream for me. And there have been times where I felt rather nauseous on Mounjaro. YouTube Bobby and Whitney says, you're on the 15, which is the highest. I could not find 7.5. Should I go to 10 milligram if I can't get to 7.5, or should I continue to wait for 7.5? My weight loss is stalled at 5 milligrams. I would say, Vicky, go, or sorry, I think I jumped to the next one. You're on 15. We stay on the 15. I read two different questions here. YouTube Bobby and Whitney's question was, since I'm on the 15, will I stay on it or switch to Ozempic or another form? For maintenance, I'll just probably, I'll do whatever my doctor thinks that I should do, more than likely, but my thing would be, I would like to, even if it was like a 2.5 or a 5 milligram of the Mounjaro, to go down to the Mounjaro, and I would stick with Mounjaro before I would look at a semaglutide. I feel like Mounjaro has been so good to me that I don't know why I would switch. Vicky's question is that she's been on 5 for 7 weeks because she couldn't find 5, so should she, or she couldn't find a 7.5, so should she switch to 10? Vicky, I did a video about that. About switching from the 5 to the 10. I was in the same boat. If after this video, if you want to go back through my videos and find that, I think it's the one where I'm riding the rocket like I am up on the screen there. So that's what you'll look for in the thumbnail. That was my switch from 5 to 10. It was fine. The 7.5, as Michelle says, is available now in most locations. So if you call around, you should be able to find it. It's back in stock. You might actually have a harder time finding the 10. So I'd exhaust your avenues of finding the 7.5. I always plug Amazon Pharmacy. I don't particularly love it, but they've gotten me what I've needed. So Sue YouTube says the pharmacy was out of 5 and his doctor jumped into the 7.5. Yeah, Mrs. Bell can't find the 10. I would say, here's what I would say. Take what you can find, because once you get past the 2.5 milligrams, and I say probably past the 5 as well, you get into those upper doses, the payoff gets less and less the higher the dose you go. Like if you're on 10 to 15, the Surmount trials weren't that different between the higher doses. So take what you can get at this point. Melissa H says Mounjaro has been more consistently effective over the past 4 months than Ozempic was for her. And I've heard that from other folks as well. I think that it has to do with the fact that Mounjaro is a dual acting medicine. It acts on not just the GLP-1 like Ozempic and Wegovy, but it acts on the GIP as well. And of course, we can't forget about Retatrutide, which is coming along in the Surmount trials right now, which should be approved, which acts on the third receptor, which is the glucagon receptor. Anyway, supposed to be like Mounjaro on steroids. That's not what Eli Lilly said. That's what I say. So I hope you all have enjoyed the stream. Now, I haven't seen anybody in the comments that has said that they've shared this. So we'll hold the drawing off until next week, and I'll just wait for anybody to put in the chat that they shared this somewhere, and then we will do that drawing on the next Friday Night Live. Unless anybody has any other questions, I really appreciate everybody joining tonight. This has been fun. I thank Michelle for joining the stream. She shared some super helpful information. And I hope that if you missed the early part of the stream, that you'll go back and watch that. I also hope that it wasn't too bouncy, because I'm having some internet issues here tonight or something. So I hope that it wasn't too in and out for you. But I really appreciate her joining the stream, sharing her information. She can be found at Chronic Bariatric Girly on Instagram, and she can also be found in BJ Davis's Discord. And of course you count, Michelle. Get out of here. We're talking about dry mouth too. That's something that I have had. But you know what I noticed today? I just said to my wife that I got to the end of the day today and I said, babe, I don't think I drank a drop of water today. And that's a little scary, because I'm like, that's not normally me. I drink and drink and drink water all day long. But Mounjaro, I think that it's because I'm so full all the time, I don't think to drink. And when I feel like I can put something in my stomach, my body kind of wants food. So just a little plug for making sure that if you're getting dry mouth, that you're making sure that you're getting enough water, because it's already a recommendation from Lilly that you drink more water than you normally would on Mounjaro. It does, I think some of the studies say to sip it, not gulp it, but make sure you're getting your water, because I didn't today, and hopefully I'm not going to pay any severe consequences for it, but I will make sure to get some more fluids in me. I'm working on it right now. So we're going to wrap up the stream. I really appreciate you all joining. It was exciting to have the folks over on Facebook on the stream tonight. Thank you to each one of you who joined, who contributed to the chat. Thank you all. One more reminder to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're hoping to hit 1,000 subscribers by tomorrow. If you like this stream and share it, that's going to help us get there. A couple plugs for a couple videos that I did earlier this week. I did a really extensive, comprehensive video yesterday on the coupons. And so I hope that you'll go back and watch that. If you're having issues with coupons, or if you know people that have questions about the coupons, take that video, share it into your forums. It's really great information. It came from some doctors who had allowed me into their Facebook group. They called Lilly direct, and it's all in that video. And people are finding it very helpful. So if you didn't see that, get back and see it. And I'm just going to say one more time, thank you all for joining. I can't wait to do this again next week. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope everybody recovers. This week was sucky for me, getting back from break with Monday off, and I never got my head above water. So I'm excited for the weekend, excited to rest a little bit. I hope you all can do the same and spend some time with the people that you love. Thanks for joining. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next Friday.